my name is Lauren Mendelsohn, the founder of Our Strength Within, where I continuously work very hard to create a community for people who struggle with invisible illnesses like myself. Today, I've invited Megan, one of my best friends, to share her story. What was it? The other day we were sitting there and I'm like, do you want to be on my podcast? And you're like, I never thought you'd ask. So you shared with me what you go through day in and day out. So if you want to share with everyone kind of what you go through and
So I struggle with something called inappropriate sinus tachycardia. So what that is essentially is my heart is just racing really fast. So I could be, imagine you're running a marathon and
which I will probably never do.
But like you're working out or something strenuous and your heart is really high. Maybe it gets up to like almost 200.
Wow.
So I was struggling with when I was undiagnosed. I would be completely at rest just sitting down and my heart would be going at about 160 miles an hour, 160 beats per minute. And that's really, really exhausting on your body. So for 2.5 years, I was living like that completely.
And what was it like? Like, how were you able to get through your day? And then did people understand?
So it was hard because... So this happened right after I got the COVID vaccine. And it was, I don't know if you remember, but everything was pushed through so fast that it didn't go through all like the clinical trials and the testing and whatever. So it was kind of, we were in a state of panic. So everyone just took it. And
did you have to get it because of...
Yeah, I had to get it because of work.
What did you do?
I was working at a med spa and my company was really for getting the vaccine. So I thought, okay, I'll get it. And, that's how it'll... I don't know. I was following suit. Everyone was. I did. So I didn't think anything of it. And then I started feeling really, really tired. I didn't know why.
Like all the time?
All the time. My boyfriend, who's now my fiance, he would get frustrated because I was always tired. And he's like, I don't know what to do for you. Like, I'm trying to help you. And I'm like, I'm just frustrated because I don't know either. I don't know why I'm so tired. I would sleep, 10, 12 hours a night.
Wow.
And I would never feel rested. And it was because my heart was always working so hard. And I lived like that for about 2.5 years.
So going through that, right, like you were experiencing symptoms, were you going to the doctor?
So I went to the doctor about a year, I would say, after I started having these symptoms. And it was dismissed as, it's just POTS, which I don't know if you're aware, it's, when you stand up, it's a blood pressure disorder. This POTS doesn't have a high heart rate at rest when you're sitting. It only jumps up when you stand up or if you're lying down and you sit up. Mine was 150, 160 beats per minute around the clock. And when I was sleeping, it would still be high. So I was never getting quality rest.
Were you working out at the time or doing the things you did before that?
Yeah, I would work out, but I couldn't breathe. I had palpitations. It was just, and I've always been healthy, never any other problems. And it was so foreign to me to feel like I couldn't do things anymore. And it was like I was living in a haze. Like I felt groggy. I didn't feel clear.
And you were in college at the time,
I was in college at the time. I was a junior in college when I got the COVID vaccine. And I lived like that for 2.5 years. Wow. And it wasn't until I interned at a cardiac rehab place where these cardiac nurses, I was telling them, and they were like, you really should get a second opinion. So I went to UF Health, and they had a cardiologist that would do research. And I went to her and she was like, what's interesting is I've had girls come to me specifically between the ages of 18 and 25 that have gotten the COVID vaccine or some other environmental factor, and this happens. And she's like, there's no explanation for it. We don't know why it happens. We don't know how long it'll last. But it was kind of disappointing because, I just drew the short end of the stick,
Yeah, so I don't know, and you can share more about what you go through. But for epilepsy... 70% of people don't know why. You kind of have a why, but was it scary to say there's no solution or I don't know what it is?
I felt frustrated because it was almost like if I could go back in time, I knew I wouldn't have gotten the vaccine because I'm young and healthy, and if I got COVID, I would probably be fine. I did get COVID and I was fine.
A lot of people have said that to me.
And it's just frustrating because my whole quality of life and my day-to-day life has changed because I got the vaccine. And it was something, I'm a nurse now. I just graduated nursing school. I'm pro-vaccine, of course. It's there for a reason, but it's just so frustrating that something that was so rushed had such a negative impact on me.
Yeah.
The benefit, like I didn't see any benefit from it because I got COVID, I was fine.
A lot of people had to get vaccinated because of the position they were in professionally. I chose to get it, but it was more because when I started having health complications, no one knew what COVID was.
Yeah.
So that was just, I think, misguided information.
Yeah.
But you kind of foreshadowed when you say, looking back, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
What would you have changed through your journey? Would you have gone through a second opinion sooner?
Yeah.
Would you be more open to sharing your story? What is that?
Yeah.
Like?
So now having the nursing education that I do, advocacy is really, really important. A lot of people go to the hospital or the doctor and the doctor says one thing and they're like, oh, okay, you're a doctor. I trust you. Which, it's really important if something still feels wrong to go seek out that second opinion. Because I was like, oh, you're a doctor. You told me that it's POTS. Okay. But I still felt terrible even with the advice that she gave me and whatever. And it's really important to listen to your body because sometimes things happen and you just take the one medical opinion you get and you leave. And a lot of people, it's just misinformation. They don't know any better.
I've always learned that it's really important to listen to your body, but also go see other people. Just like we're all opinionated, like I'm very opinionated, you're very opinionated, that, like if we all have our opinions, like why wouldn't you go see someone else? Yeah. But support system wise, like how was that? Like for me, sometimes people misunderstood what I was going through, and then they give me a hard time.
Yeah, it was difficult because it was my boyfriend, like I said, Kevin, who's now my fiance. He was pretty much there from the beginning. Yeah. He was there when I got the vaccine. He was there when I had COVID, and it hit me like a truck. And, I think once I started to put the pieces together, it was clicking for him, and he was so supportive. He's like, okay, what do you need from me? Like, what can I do to help you? And what can I do to make your life easier? And it was more the emotional support. Like, I got on medication to help me physically, but mentally it's like I felt broken. Like, I felt like I can't do anything, but it was having him. You helped, my family helped. It was just kind of like I'm here for you if you need me. Like, what can I do to make your day-to-day life easier? Yeah,
I talk about how important support systems are, and I encourage people who I talk to every day that it's really important to find that one person, even if it's just us. Like, we talked about how, like, I have anxiety. You shared some of the things you go through with mental health, and everyone goes through it, right? So it's really easy for that to kind of share with someone. Right. But then when you go through something unique like you do, it's like, who are the 5 other people that need the education but also feel alone? Right. And so this is a way that you can share, right? Like, Megan is more than happy to speak to anyone who is going through this because it can feel like you're on an island. And it can be frustrating when your family, your friends, or whatever, if you cancel plans, like with you being exhausted, if they don't understand.
Yeah, and it was really tough because when I got diagnosed with that, like I said, I was working at the cardiac rehab, and there were studies that came out that were just available to the nursing staff at UF, and it was something like 1 in 500 cases or something. And in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot of people in the US, a lot of people in Florida. So 500 women that were experiencing what I was, but at the time nobody knew why and nobody knew how to help them.
Have you met people that have gone through what you go through? So like, if you didn't have your family, fiance, and everything, like I feel like it could be relatively frustrating and a little isolating.
Yeah, for sure, because it's, no one can understand the easiest fix is, oh, just drink a coffee, just go to sleep, just take a nap. But it's like not understanding that you literally feel like you got hit. I felt like I got hit by a truck.
Yeah, or ran a marathon, which I can't do. Yesterday we were hiking, we're in Montana, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to take a break. And I always blame it on altitude, but it was just, you just walk really fast. So going through, you mentioned yesterday that you ran cross country and stuff like that. So now where you are, like in this position, if someone's diagnosed with this in high school, like what advice would you give them?
I would say, listen to your body. If you need a break, take a break. Because I'm very much I'm so stubborn. And if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. You know, even if my body's screaming at me, like, I can't keep up, take a step back. It's not going to hurt you. But then the same thing is, you know that it's not your fault that you feel the way that you do, and do what you can to make yourself feel better. I did go through trials of I'm on a medication to slow my heart rate down. I hate
You take it every day.
I take it every day, and if I miss a dose, I feel like crap again. So I felt like I didn't want to be dependent, but at the end of the day, it's a quality of life thing. So I went with my doctor and we trialed like getting me off the medication, and my body couldn't do it.
I mean, that's mine. They said that like, I'll probably be on this medication for the rest of my life, but there are components like weight and certain things that affect the medication. So it's always trial and error. I feel like a lot of people who have medication, who have to go on medication and sustain a certain lifestyle, like, it can be frustrating because there's no one size fits all. Yeah.
And it's more challenging for me because thinking about long term. What are the long term effects? I was only 22 when I started on the medication. No, I was 20. Yeah, I was 22 when I started on the medication, and I'm 25 now, so I've been on it for 4 years. Who's to say if I'm still on it at 55, how am I going to be affected when I'm 80? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, it's scary.
I don't know what it's going to look like, but my quality of life supersedes my like opposition to being on medication.
So going through something as stressful and intense as what you go through, like, what are the things that you implement in your life now that like bring you happiness, that are things that could cheer someone up if they feel kind of stuck or isolated?
I think what's really important, especially for me, is finding the close group of people that you feel like will have your back, and that you don't have to be in front of. You don't have to, be your polished version of yourself. Like, be around people that understand what you're going through and have the patience to, take a step back and, let you kind of, I don't know, just be yourself, and just like being around those people that listen to you and that you can talk to and that make it feel easy.
Are there certain things that affect what you go through every day? Like, for example, sleep deprivation. Like, I have to at least get 6 hours of sleep a night, minimum. And the second thing is stress. They're like, limit your stress. I'm like, there's so much stress in the world. I'm like, I can't, but it's okay. I have coping mechanisms and everything like that. So it's like, for you, are there things that you have to be mindful for day in and day out?
Yeah, it's really hard because obviously, so I live in Florida and it's hot in Florida all the time. Well, the heat makes my heart rate worse. And I love being outside. I love doing things and being active, but it makes it really, really tough. Like, I have to take frequent breaks. And like I said, I'm stubborn. I want to keep going. I want to keep pushing through, but it's really tough. And sometimes I have to make those modifications. Like, okay, well, I can't be outside right now because it's so hot. And like, my heart rate will just go through the roof.
That's so interesting.
And I used to run cross country, like you mentioned. I can't do that anymore. Like, I could, but it would be such a long journey to
you just have to move out here.
Yeah, because it's just like, I can't push my heart that high because I'm on a medication that lowers my heart rate. So it's like opposite. Yeah, it's counterintuitive. So I have to do like shortened workouts or like weight only or some like things that were so like core things in my life that I've had to turn around and change.
Have you felt like you have a sense of peace, or it's still a struggle every day that you just don't know?
Yeah, I feel a sense of peace knowing that my quality of life is so much better. Like, I can do things, I can, without being tired. Like, I still have to take so much frequent rest. But it's also in the back of my mind, it's frustrating knowing that I'm on medication. Like, I don't want to be on heart medication at 22 years old, 25 years old. Like, it sucks. How many people that of that age range are on heart medication?
I think it's funny you say, like, how many people are on that, because there's more people on medication than we think they are, kind of. Even vitamins. Like, I think vitamins and supplements are important. But just the quality of life is really important. So, like, if you talk to the people watching who go through things like you, or some sort of invisible illness that alters your lifestyle, like, what advice would you give them if you were to go through that starting now?
I would just say, like, surround yourself with people that are going to listen to you and going to be supportive, because life is dynamic. It's never static. There's always changes. There's always stress. There's always things moving. So people that can be flexible with you, because I've had my fair share of, people in my life that get frustrated by my inability to be flexible sometimes. And, those friendships don't last. You know, so surrounding yourself with important people, I think, is the best thing you can do, especially because it's within your control, right?
Yeah.
You can't control what's going on inside your body to the same extent that you can control how you like feel, you know?
I think it's also important, before we wrap up, that you surround yourself with people who have different perspectives.
Yeah.
Like, obviously we're all different people, but we go through different things. But sometimes it's easier to talk to someone who goes through something that people can't see, because you kind of have a similar foundation of like frustration. But well, I appreciate everything you've done and shared, and please reach out. We'll have our contact information on the summary below. But again, thank you for tuning in. I want to continue to strengthen our community and making sure people feel seen, heard, and loved. Thanks again.